Hello? Just really quick, thank you all so much for coming here today. We're going to start in 6 minutes. Just wanting to let everybody know. Thank you. Can everybody hear me? We'll need to keep the doorway open. The fire department has asked us to clear the doorway because of fire code. So please keep the doorway open. We're trying to find some empty seats up here for those that are standing.
in Northland healthcare access because now, according to the health department, they're putting 400,000 to children's, and 50,000 of the youth employment has been returned to the mayor's budget.
50,000?
Yeah.
Where'd the other 50,000 go?
I don't know.
Like when we tell people to show up here at 11:30, we should honor it.
I know. I mean, I feel bad that I wasn't at the last two meetings, but at least if I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there on time because I'm not going to hold people up.
Yeah, but here we are. I just find that incredibly disrespectful.
Because in my house, if you're not early, you're late.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, good to see you. Always good to see you. How are you, sir? Oh, just
Getting a few more phone calls and text messages.
yeah, right.
I know you're 21.
God bless you.
I gotta bring Sarah out the back.
Oh, well. I
And
hope
then I'll
that.
call you later. 'Cause
But
we
please
might
do.
have some news.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Howdy. Good to see you today. No, I'm pretty fine with that. And then at least, yeah, let me get through everybody's issue, and then if there's a more needed. Yes, ma'am.
You all ready? We're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna kick it off. Okay.
You're gonna go ahead?
I'm gonna kick it off and turn it over to.
I usually say something
Yeah,
and then
I'll turn it over
transfer.
to the mayor.
Thank you.
Liam and I went down to the rock garden.
Get this turned off.
Sorry, I have to reschedule. We'll get to that soon. You'll charge it?
And he didn't buy for any of the rest of us.
You got to.
You've always got your own outlet.
Oh, thanks. Can you read them? Okay.
Or she's,
Oh,
but it doesn't work.
nope.
We'll just.
Okay, hello. Welcome to the third public budget hearing. Appreciate everybody coming out today. My name is Debbie Chu. I'm with the Office of Management and Budget with the Finance Department. I understand it's a crowded room, and of course, when we booked this, we didn't anticipate the high turnout. So appreciate everybody coming out today. Just a couple of quick announcements. Please do not block the cameras as our city communications staff is currently filming this. As well, try to keep the doorway open. I know it's kind of crowded in here, and maybe we can have some people sit on the ledges here. So we need to keep the doorway open per the fire code with the fire department. Restrooms are right around the corner. Just go out, make a left, and restrooms are right there. And just really quick, we have members of the Health Commission here taking a quality of life survey of how we can better serve the community. They will be around at the end of the public budget hearing, so stop by, help them out. And Mayor Lucas?
Well, good morning, everybody. We are very excited to have you here, and we're excited to have you participate in our budget process. This is the third of 3 public hearings where we're trying to, frankly, get your insight on priorities that you see that we need both in this year's budget and broadly in how we're governing. We are joined by the entire complement of the City Council. They'll introduce themselves in a moment, but I will start by introducing the chair of today's meeting, who is the chair of our Finance, Governance, and Public Safety Committee, 4th District at Large, Councilwoman Catherine Shields.
Thank you so much. It's great to see the turnout today. We've had good turnouts at all three of our hearings, this one being no exception. A little ground rules. Everyone will be given 2 minutes to speak. And we have about an hour and a half to hold hearings. I may about halfway through indicate that we're gonna cut it to 1 minute. I think I'm gonna start off though. We've had several issues that have come to the fore and we've had a lot of testimony on them. One has been tenants' rights. You all have been very active. Congratulations. One has been the arts, thank you. One has been the arts. And then we also have had quite a few conversations on the small business people in our community. So what I'd like to do is start off by asking those of you who are here supporting the Tenants' Bill of Rights, if you would at least raise your hands. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I would like, and then the same for the arts. Who's here supporting the arts? Again, a great turnout of people, and some overlap. That's great. And then finally, small business opportunity. Again, great turnout. As we go through, I'm going to basically, well, let's see how it goes. I don't think we can have everybody who's checked on here today speak. And so what we may do is ask, in each one of these major issues, if you identify 2 or 3 people that you want to have speak on your behalf, and then we'll go on to the next issue. Why don't we start with Tenant Bills of Rights?
And let's
Go ahead.
colleagues introduce
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that part. My colleagues, if they would introduce themselves.
Heather Hall, 1st District in District.
Kevin O'Neill, 1st District at large.
Dan Fowler, 2nd District in District.
Teresa Lohr, 2nd District at large.
Good afternoon, Melissa Robinson. Welcome to the heart of the city, the 3rd District. You all look amazing. Thank you for coming.
Brendan Ellington, 3rd District at large.
Of course, Catherine Shields, Chair of Finance and 4th District.
Quentin Lucas, Mayor.
Eric Bunch, 4th District. You were almost in the 4th District, so we'll just consider this a joint 3rd and 4th
Actually,
District
this isn't.
host. So thank you for being out here today.
Raina Parkshaw, 5th District. Can the 5th District raise their hands? All right, thank you for being here.
Lee Barnes, 5th District at large.
Andrea Booth, 6th District at large.
Ernest Rouse, Acting City Manager.
Okay, so starting with Tenant Bill of Rights, are there someone who'd like to come up and speak on behalf of the Tenants Bill of Rights?
There's about 50 of us that would like to speak, but we're going to adhere to your...
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. AJ is going to be the first one. Him and Mom are going to get
Wonderful.
the family.
And here we go. Go ahead. Please identify yourselves. Say what district of the city you live in, and then provide us with your 2 minutes of testimony.
My name is AJ Caldwell. I live in the 3rd District. My name is AJ Caldwell. I am a leader with KC Tenants. My family are in Kansas City. Well, tenants in Kansas City. We've been through a lot. We've lived in bad housing. We've had bad landlords. We've had to pay out of pocket when the property owner wouldn't respond to us. My parents have faced a lot. Didn't know if I was going to lose my mom. I need the city to show us some love and implement the Tenant Bill of Rights. I believe that funding the Tenant Bill of Rights will be an investment in me and my family. It will be an investment in kids in Kansas City. When we've had slumlords in the past, I've had to change schools, a lot of different schools. That made me sad and nervous. If we protect tenants' rights, then kids like me can stay in school. I wouldn't be as sad and nervous because I could stay with the same friends and teachers. It would help me learn. I want to be mayor someday. If I was mayor, I would fund the Tenants Bill of Rights. I hope you consider our proposal. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Caldwell, 3rd District. I'm a leader with KC Tenants. My wife, Tiana Caldwell, was sick with cancer for the 2nd time and in the middle of treatment when our landlord evicted us. We were drowning in debt due to the cost of her care, and she was severely ill. The only landlord that would rented us a home that flooded with sewage and feces the first day that we were in there the first day. We couldn't reach our property owners for weeks. We called the health department, who deemed the property uninhabitable, but all they did was displace my family again. And this time, we were out like $4,000. I contacted and showed up to every agency that I could find in our city that I was told was supposed to enforce our rights as tenants, all while being the primary caregiver of my sick wife and 12-year-old son, and living in hotels at like $500 a week. We lived homeless at Christmas time in hotels for 6 months. Overall, it was over $16,000. No one had any answers for us. Even with the health department firmly on our side and condemning the property, not a single one of the people in any of the departments whose responsibility it is to enforce our rights and hold the bad landlords accountable took a single action to do so. The owner was ultimately allowed to sell the damn property without disclosure, and we had no help in holding them accountable. Unfortunately, I ain't the only one. It's a lot of us like this. We need to be able to count on our city to do the right thing. We need you to fund our Tenants Bill of Rights, which provides a clear designation of who's responsible to enforce tenants' rights and hold these landlords accountable. Man, we counting on you because I'm fighting for my life, man.
Hi, my name's Julia Cole. I'm an ally with KC Tenants and an artist. The phrase, "we can't afford this," also means this is not a priority for us. And a city's budget is always a clear indication of who and what matter most to the mayor and city council members. A budget that allocates 74% of its general fund to safety is a budget in crisis. It's also short-sighted. People are being murdered under the noses of police officers, and we need alternative approaches. A city that spends more on reacting to symptoms than solving causes is a city in crisis. We must support programs that address the poverty, frustration, and instability at the root of urban violence. Our city needs more programs than its residents are willing to pay for, so it faces challenging decisions. Who do you serve? This budget includes more than $6.5 million for golf course operations, and $0 for a promised Office of Tenant Advocacy. This is not just a breach of public trust, but also ignores the connections between public safety and housing that is not safe, accessible, or affordable. When $7.7 million are budgeted for catering at the convention hotel, in a time of diminishing hotel income, while a vital city arts office and programs are erased, not only does this undo a public mandate, but it also ignores culture as a foundation of a meaningful life, even if you have little money. Like decent housing, the arts also provide many social benefits that decrease expenditures on other budget lines. Refocusing spending on innovative and proactive programs for the underserved of our city is smart budgeting for an equitable and sustainable future. It will benefit us all in the end.
My name is Candace Ladd. I am a resident of the 4th District, a leader with KC Tenants, and a social worker with Hartmann Center for Jobs and Freedom. I am a tenant who has lived in a home that had mold, infestations, and a general lack of maintenance. In my eviction defense work at Hartmann Center, I speak to tenants weekly who have all that and more. Sewage overflowing from toilets, mushrooms growing on the carpet, broken windows barely taped over in the depth of winter. But we have something else in common besides these unlivable conditions. Until now, we didn't know that we have rights and a way to hold landlords accountable. Funding an office in City Hall to help educate tenants about their rights, as an overwhelming majority of council members voted to do so in December, would change that. Educating the nearly half of our city residents that are tenants is an investment in our future. When I read through the 600+ page budget, I saw zero investment in a better future for tenants. I also understand that money has been proposed to expand access to attorneys for tenants. While that is a step in the right direction, I want to be clear that it falls short of what we actually need, which is a guaranteed right to counsel, beyond self-help legal right education, that is not subject to the whims of budget cuts. Just last week, when I was at the eviction docket, a woman told me through tears, I had no idea I even had rights in this situation. I had no idea there was anyone who would help. I thought I was alone in this. We need an office who will do this before someone gets to the crisis point of being sued for eviction. The city is already spending money on eviction by funding the judges, courts, and sheriffs that evict people every day. It's time to take some of that money and put it towards keeping people in their homes. Thank you for your leadership in ensuring we fund this office.
We're going to take 2 more people on the tenants' rights issue. That'll bring us to about 25 minutes. And then we're going to go to the arts issue. And go through the issues that way. And then if we have other time left at the end, we will allow other people to speak. So 2 more people.
Hi, my name is Janae, and I'm a leader with KC Tenants. I'm a resident of the 2nd District. Today will be my 3rd budget hearing I've come to. It will be the 3rd time I've worked from 10 p.m. till 7 a.m., put my kids on the bus, and stayed up to make it to the budget hearing. When we are done, I will go home and sleep from 2 p.m. till 4:30 p.m. Then my kids get off the bus. I will help them with their homework, cook dinner, feed them, get them ready for bed, and take them to the babysitter, and go back to work. I have had a total of 2.5 hours of sleep today. To be honest, it sucks. But it is worth talking to my mayor, to my city council. It is worth being in this room with my friends in my city, telling you what we need. My rights are worth losing sleep over. So let me tell you what we need again today. We need you to fund the office of the tenant advocate. Honestly, it's kind of wild that I have to make this ask, that people like me have to take time off work to get this funded. There's a commitment to fund this implementation of the Tenant Bill of Rights in this legislation that you passed in December. On December 13th, we had our signing ceremony. We all celebrated with the mayor, and he said, "This is just the beginning step. I know we've done a lot, but we have a lot more to do. We need to make sure we get adequate funding and resources for everything we talked about. I want to live in a city where our leaders follow through on their commitments. Fund the Office of Tenant Advocate."
These 2 more, and then we'll go to the arts issue.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashley. I live in the 3rd District. I'm owner of Dirt to Diva Enterprises. I'm an activist at KC Tenants, and I'm here today to tell you. I want to tell you about my stake here, my stake in the KC Tenants. Due to the lack of education that we have, due to the lack of education and the representation that we have for KC Tenants, I have been bullied into accept unbearable and inhabitable living conditions. Due to the economic disparities that's also evident here in Kansas City, Missouri, I'm currently, with my 3 children, renting a room with my 3 children that is infested. I'm sorry. My breast pump has been chewed through because of mice. But you know what my landlord tells me? I'm working on it. $500 a month. That ain't right. Thank you for that sign. But I'm here to tell you, I was thrilled when the KC Tenants won the Bill of Rights in December. We have implemented And we need this funding. Or we're going to be, again, another family like mine, like the Caldwells, or just bouncing from hotels to hotels. And no one is accountable for that. So no one is accountable to take funding and put people in places that you. I know y'all don't want to live in that. So you think we want to live in that? Y'all have a good day.
Okay, please state your name, what district you live in, and make your 2-minute statement.
Thank you. I am Gillespie. I live in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th districts. I am a leader with KC Tenants and a member of the strategy team and a diligent seeker for the truth. My pronouns are we, us, and ours. During this campaign, you, the running city council members, promised you will be the champions for the disadvantaged, disenfranchised, and the marginalized persons of Kansas City. So far, I have seen none of these promises come to fruition. You, the members, the keepers of the gate, again will be taking the low road if this budget is passed as is. You take our money, give it to the oppressor of the light and the distractors of the truth. We all know power should not be given to mankind. He will only have his best interests at heart, with no concern for the ones who has entrusted him with this charge. It will not include us. At this time, you are giving our money for dogs, while 90 beds are set down at the City Union Mission Shelter. Our monies are geared towards spiritual, meaningless organizations which do no thing to raise people out of spiritual depression, which is blasphemous. We are called to be good shepherds over the abundance. Instead of keepers of the gate, we'll allow keys to be given to those who do not believe persons are more important as dogs, as important as the arts with their $1 million endowments, or as important as the police who only seem to be oppressors of liberties, who have just get part of a $71.1 million operational budget from the Attorney General. Document here to prove it. Stand before our Creator. We will be judged for all our words, actions, and deeds. We will be asked, what did you do with the power you were entrusted? Did you feed my hungry? Did you shelter my homeless? Did you clothe my naked? Before you answer, the answer ought to be known. We are commanded to do all of these for all of those. We will all answer guilty. We will be guilty for the doing or of not doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your testimony.
I'm
going to call 2 people to speak who have an interpreter, and we're going to allow them to speak, and then so that the interpreter that's being provided can be here to do that for them. It's Hadil Al-Reed and Hanadi Al-Mansour.
Good evening. I am Hanadi Al-Mansour. I'm living in Kansas City, Missouri, 126 North Chelsea Avenue. أنا عندي تجربة كبيرة كتير مع Children Mercy.
I have a great experience with Children Mercy.
ولا زالت مستمرة.
And it still continues because I have other kids that needs to be treated at Children Mercy.
وبصراحة هن دعموني كتير وأنا هون لأدعمهم لأنه هن بيستحقوا.
Children Mercy supported me through the long journey and I'm here today to support Children Mercy.
وأنا بعتبر Children Mercy هي الأفضل على الإطلاق على نطاق الولايات المتحدة.
I think that Children Mercy is the best on the whole United States.
وفعلا أنا لما بكون بChildren Mercy بحس إني بين عائلتي.
When I'm in Children Mercy, I feel I'm among my family members. I never feel strangers or foreigners.
وشكرا كتير لحضرتكم.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adil Al-Khatib and I live in 64123 area. I'm here to support Children Mercy because they did a lot for me. They helped me to achieve my biggest dream, which is a bone marrow transplant. And they are like my family. And thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call about 5 or 6 people up with the arts to make their presentations. Again, I just want to make sure that every topic, and then we will have time for individuals who have a different topic.
Our city! Our city! Our money! Our money! Our right! Our right!
Here's the thing, all you're doing, we were quiet for the tenants' rights people, and everybody in this room was respectful. And all you're doing is taking time away from other people to present their needs. Please continue.
Good morning or afternoon. My name is Linda Williams. I live in Key Coalition neighborhood in the 3rd District. My organization is KC Melting Pot Theater, and we perform at Just Off Broadway, which is in the 4th District. Thank you, Mayor and Council members, for offering these speakeasy sessions. I'm not here to lobby for specific arts funding, but for arts funding overall. KC Melting Pot is a Black-founded theater that has existed since 2013. We are fighting to level the theater field in Kansas City. We have benefited from NTDF funding and want to see it remain accessible to small organizations like ours. I will say that the Office of Cultural Services did what they said they would do to help promote us. Some of the large organizations are funded at larger dollar amounts with the expectation that they will help support and fund smaller organizations. Those larger organizations have their own agendas and money does not trickle down. Larger organizations have the human capital to pursue other funding, and they have high dollar donors to help support them. Small organizations should not have to compete with them for funding. Please continue to support the arts, and we ask that you consider how to provide more support directly to small organizations where more of the money reaches the artist. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Don Wilkerson. I'm in the 4th District. I've been in the city for a little more than 40 years, and no disrespect to the police, adding more police officers to the streets will not make us safer. What will make us safer are affordable housing, a thriving arts community, and strong small businesses. My suggestion is that instead of decreasing funding for the arts, I know there's been some news articles that suggested that the arts funding had been restored. That's not really true. Some of it has been restored, but the Office of Culture and Creative Services is still on the chopping block. You should increase funding for the arts rather than eliminate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next person speaks, listen up. We have a black Ford Fusion, license number Charlie Urban Frank Bill 6 Kate. You're blocking the door, and if you don't move your car, you're going to be towed. So that's a black Ford Fusion. Thank you. Please continue.
Okay. I'm Cheryl Kimmey, based in District 4. I was the director of KC Creates, the nonprofit that the city asked to be fiscal agent for the Open Spaces project. I have 5 bullet points. The project received critical acclaim nationwide, but much criticism locally. There were indeed a number of things that should not have occurred. I want to make it clear that every red flag I raised was squashed, not by the Office of Cultural and Creative Services, but the mayor's office. I have reached out multiple times to this new administration with no response. I am left to assume they don't want to hear what I have to say because it doesn't fit their narrative. 2, this leaves me disappointed that the administration seems to be following the lead of another administration that is bent on wiping out everything from their predecessor, both bad and good. Which leads to item number 3 in my list. Knowing and having worked with both parties, I find the timing curious in the lawsuit filed just last week. The individual separated from the city more than a year ago is just now, and at this time, making allegations that cannot be addressed before the budgeting process concludes. I'm wondering, does this set a new precedent? If you have personnel issues in, say, finance or housing, will you eliminate that office in the next round of budgets? 4, I respect and support the plan for free bus transportation and personally know people who are benefiting from the free prospect route. Perhaps there should be consideration for phasing this in over time with appropriate budget planning. I understand that $4 million is to come from this budget and that the remaining $4 million is to come from sponsors and donors. I would suggest that you look at your short list of potential sponsors and supporters and compare it with the list of community supporters who support the Cultural Arts Plan and the creation of the Office of Cultural and Creative Services. In closing, I again reiterate, there is more to learn from open spaces. I am available and willing to share with council the rest of the story. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please. Come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Lee Hartmann. I'm a proud resident of the 5th District. I live right off of Paseo. This is my first budget meeting that I was able to attend because I was out in our community making art during the past 2, creating concerts, inviting people, and inviting audiences. The Office of the Creative and Cultural Services is a vital voice for the arts in the community. We need a seat at the table. We can't have development without the arts. Who's going to want to go into a community that doesn't have anything to look at, that doesn't have anything to enjoy? That is ridiculous. 2 stories. I have been in Kansas City for 17 years. I moved here from Philadelphia. I thought I was going to be here for 2 years, grad school, and out. 17 years later, I'm still here. The reason I didn't move back to the East Coast after I got a divorce and lost my job was because Kansas City supported me. Kansas City supported the arts. I want to be a part of this city and I want to feel valued. I did, and now I don't. Secondly, the Office of Creative Cultural Services and Visit KC were instrumental in bringing an international conference that I had the pleasure of serving as artistic director for, the Lesbian and Gay Band Association. Through that, we were able to bring people from around the world to Kansas City to show off our city. We would not have been able to do that. We would not have had the funds as a small arts organization, and we would not have had the support without those 2 institutions. So I please, whether it's the Office of Creative Cultural Services or some other office, we need a voice, we need to be heard, and we need to be valued. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Lucas. Good morning, council members. My name is Michelle. I am a producer, a locations manager, and a member of Kansas City Women in Film and TV. First of all, I wanted to thank you, Mayor Lucas, for listening to us and for reconsidering your support for our industry. We greatly appreciate it. And we would like you to see us as allies to work alongside you and to build a long and sustainable economic development for this city. I'm not originally from here. I moved here 5 years ago, and when I arrived here, I was honestly skeptical that I was able to build a future here because I thought there was no work for what I do, but I was wrong. What I found was a vibrant and blooming community that not only allowed me to work and to care for my family, but allowed me to grow roots here. We have nearly 800 crew members listed in our local production guide, and at least 40% of those work in the commercial production. We have room to expand that. We have room to bring more work in, to bring more productions, and to get young, talented people into the business and to grow, to provide jobs. But the film development program is vital for that to happen. It is our biggest leverage to compete with other cities in the region. And what I would like to ask Mayor Lucas is, how will the program be managed now that the OCCS was extinguished? And we would just like to make sure that the program will remain in place and will be administered within the city administration. So we would just like some clarification on how that's gonna work and what the plan is. And again, thank you for being open to us.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dave Sullivan. I'm Director of Arts Tech. I've been in this business for 43 years, and I have found that through the arts, we transform lives. We transform the young lives of the young kids who come in, who, if we do not intervene, and there's many amongst us in this crowd who work together on this, prevent the crime. become the taxpayers, stay in school. Art is healing. Art is expressive. Our kids feel that. And specifically the support for the Teens in Transition program that I am here in front of you today, and I know that you have partially restored the funding, and I'm working on the rest with you and others. We can't do it alone. We need to be working with the community. The other issue is the kids themselves. This is youth development. We need to be able to present to the kids that we show them that we care, that we willing to keep them in school, that education is important, that not becoming a victim or becoming a perpetrator is vital for them becoming a true productive citizen. Only through the help of everybody here, including Mr. Mayor Lucas and the council, can we succeed. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. We're going to take one more person on the arts.
Hey. My name is Amy Kligman, and I live in the 2nd District. I work in the 4th. I serve the arts community as the Executive Artistic Director of the Charlotte Street Foundation. I'm here in support of many of the initiatives that are in front of us. I support KC Tenants, I support Zero Fare Transit, but I am here to advocate specifically for the arts and culture ecosystem of Kansas City, which under the first draft of this budget would take significant blows. Overall, this budget demonstrated a pattern of deprioritizing the arts that was baffling, given the arts and culture sector, as cited in a study commissioned by the city, generates $244 million in total economic activity, or 88% of the economic impact of the entire Kansas City region. It also delivers $7.9 million in local government revenue. Additionally, investments in the arts have been proven to improve results against every sector listed as a priority by this administration, including crime, health and safety, and education. I have heard the suggestion private arts funding is strong, and that's where there are cuts to the arts in the budget, we should seek the help of the private sector to fill the gaps. Private philanthropy can do a lot to support the arts, but what we'll never do is substitute a department in the city dedicated to the promotion and cultivation of art and culture. The development of OCCS was the recommendation of a convergence of arts, civic, and business leadership, and its task was to strategically promote and cultivate the cultural growth of this city. The elimination of that office demonstrates this administration does not deem that mission to be worthy of even one dedicated staff member, not one. And in cutting that department entirely, they not only make that decision for all of us today, but forever. I urge the council to reconsider this recommendation and recommit to the Office of Cultural Creative Services and to a thoughtful approach to integrating art and artists into the work of the city to leverage the power of artists to make the city better for all of its citizens.
Thank you. Now, individuals supporting small businesses in Kansas City. Are there individuals that wish to come forward and testify? Please do so. State your name, what district you're in, and you will have a couple of minutes to speak.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Jessica. I'm reading for this District 6.
Okay.
You've seen big corporate offices downtown, but let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever met a Northeast High School graduate while there? How about Central High, Southeast, Paseo, Hickman Hills? As someone who's worked in these big buildings, I can tell you that I've never met someone from most of these schools. Every day I see people drive into our downtown, eat lunch at their desk, and then drive the 30 minutes back home in a different direction. They buy groceries in their distant suburbs, get gas there, own homes there, and go shopping there. Meanwhile, our city only sees 1% tax, which we then give back to the developers, a corporation, or some parking garage. Heck, after my company's 25 plus tax attorneys get done, you probably end up paying our company taxes. As our representatives, you've done a great job creating jobs for the suburbs. I wish you would put some of the same focus on creating jobs here in the neighborhoods. We've forgotten about our neighborhoods and wonder why there's so much crime and why so many feelings of abandonment are expressed. Unemployment is at 30% in large populations of the east side, while each year up to 15% of small businesses shut their doors, many from issues that could have been easily solved with your full support. Who is left to give us jobs if you don't support the small businesses actually employing our neighborhoods? Your predecessors have taken the neighborhood tax money and spent it helping everyone else. Now there are no jobs, no hope, and the officers charged with protecting us have to look over their shoulder every time they step out of their car. Their lives are on the line every day, but you continue to make the same mistakes. When you don't support the small businesses creating neighborhood jobs, what do you expect? Please save the small businesses that make us safer and create neighborhood jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin McGinnis. I represent the Keystone community targeted for the 3rd and 4th District. For 20 years, I have worked for one of the region's largest employers and took part in building the annual budget. I know how hard it is to make tough decisions when having to prioritize line items when the revenue doesn't keep up with the cost of the business. And I've seen firsthand what happens when you don't prioritize revenue growth in this process. My former employer was just sold to a competitor in Seattle, and its resources will be leaving this region soon. That said, I think we know it's important to invest in the future, and our entrepreneurs are catalysts to grow the future tax base in this city. Whether they are high-growth technology or science-based startups that drive GDP into our economy and higher wages for our citizens, or small business owners that create shared prosperity and generate community wealth, we must invest in the infrastructure to support new business creation in this city. Make no mistake, cities around the country are investing in this infrastructure of the future. They are making bets on their entrepreneurs and innovators. We need to do the same for Kansas City to stay relevant and to thrive. Last Friday night, I had the honor of sitting next to the 2015 Missouri Officer of the Year, Jason Cooley, at the annual Police Foundation Call for Backup dinner. After thanking him repeatedly and profusely for his work as a community engagement officer for the East Patrol, he wanted to know what I did. I said we were working on an initiative to increase investment and opportunities in entrepreneurship and innovation east of Troost. His response surprised me. Wow, thank you. What you all are doing is the most important thing we can do right now. He went on to say that these programs can bring hope and a sense of future to people and provide opportunities, and that he believed that this is what would bring needed change to the community. In closing, I would like to ask this group of leaders to consider restoring the original budget allocations for Launch KC, KC SourceLink, KC BizCare, the Arts Tech program, and the reduced Keystone line item that's been discussed with the city for joint planning and community engagement. Please invest in the future of this city and do not pass the buck to those who will follow you. So when the people of Kansas City consider what happened in this budget process, it's not simply history or something they look back on, but rather a legacy and something they feel like they have to live up to.
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
opportunity.
Thank you.
My name is Adam Arredondo. Hey, Mayor and Councilwoman Shields and the rest of the council. My name is Adam Arredondo. I'm CEO with Startland, formerly the Kansas City Startup Foundation, which started with the Kansas City Startup Village. And really, I'm here because I hate that we have to have this debate. How do we raise the budget in order that all of these important community services get funded? And the answer to that is small business and entrepreneurship. Over the 5 years from 2014 to 18, small business and entrepreneurs, new businesses accounted for 58% of all net new jobs. That was over 75,000 jobs. Yet this budget reduces the support of small business and entrepreneurs by 38%. And that's on top of the Innovation District budget that's in question right now. Just as a point of reference, Johnson County supports small business and entrepreneurship to the tune of $682,000. They did a study over the last 10 years that their investment in small business and entrepreneurship returned them $685 for every $1 that they invested. As Jessica said first, the entrepreneurs are the ones that are creating jobs in the neighborhood, not the corporations. This also comes on the heel of $35 million of incentives given to Wildell and Reed. They are not making our neighborhoods stronger. Small businesses and entrepreneurs are. So with that, following up on Kevin and Jessica, the support that goes to KC SourceLink and to BizCare support those minority and women-owned entrepreneurs, as well as all entrepreneurs in Kansas City. And that's how we're going to grow this budget, and that's how we can avoid having contentious debates like this and fund all of the important community services that this city needs.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Gerald Smith. I serve in two roles. Number one, I'm the champion for the Big Five initiative for the Kansas City Chamber for Entrepreneurship. And number two, I'm the founder and CEO of PlexPod Co-working. So we're in several districts, but I wanted to speak to something a little different today, and that's the day-to-day. So if you look at PlexPod as an organization, currently there are 286 companies that are resident there that represent about 1,500 employees. If you were to look at that as one total company, we'd be one of the largest employers in the city. What's interesting is I think small business needs to be seen in more of a complex or collective way, because that's the way it operates. And these resource organizations that are getting budgeted, it's critical to the day-to-day. We see it every day at PlexPod. There are events that are happening, and they're put on by these organizations, and those are the events that help these small businesses grow. You can't put the small business out to the side somewhere or in a garage or a basement and expect that type of growth. So we're excited to see that happening. I just came from a meeting in Topeka this morning where a presentation was made. They allocated budget of $500,000. I think we did $450,000 for Kansas City last year. To me, that doing the math, that means we should be at about a $2 million allocation. I highly encourage you to reconsider this. We have momentum, and we have some tremendous resource organizations that need your support. Thank you for your service also to this city. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Kurt Van Keppel. I'm an entrepreneur in this city. 23 years ago, I started a business here with one employee myself, sold it recently with 40 total employees. Over the last 10 years, I contributed over $200,000 to the city's revenue, and I'm here to speak in support of the entrepreneurial community. I have several questions for your consideration. First is, what is an entrepreneur? Is it the high-flying tech company that gets all the press? Or is it perhaps the individual solo person who starts a tailor shop or does babysitting? Is an entrepreneur embedded in the arts? Is an entrepreneur embedded in housing? Is an entrepreneur embedded in every activity of the city? What contributes the majority of net new jobs in every city across the country? Does the city need that business revenue and income tax? Does the city want to develop the development zones? And does it want to create new jobs that reduce poverty? Which is better? An entrepreneurship in the development zones that exports its product outside of Kansas City, or a big business that comes into the development zones and exports its profits outside of Kansas City? Who helps entrepreneurs in this city? Is it the city itself, or is it the non-governmental institutions that are assisted by the city? So, the data that you all seen, and I know, Mr. Mayor, I know that you're supportive, we've spoken about it, of entrepreneurship. I want to encourage you to create new jobs through entrepreneurship, which helps individuals lift themselves up and helps the city overall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jay, and I'm 64105 zip code. I just want to iterate what everyone's been saying here. I feel like they stole some script as we come along, speak a little bit more. I do want to congratulate all of you that are up here. Most of you I've met or known in the past few years for what you're doing. I know that the tough struggle in front of you about this budget matters. I do want to say this, is that all these matters matter to me, from my community-based organization that I run, as well as the nonprofit and for-profit. The for-profit point I want to speak about is this. Innovate KC right now is in its third week of a programming with 38 other cities nationwide that are taking young organizations like myself and other ones to actually create businesses here and infrastructure here to work for municipalities. We need your support in what that looks like and what it means. And I don't have anything else to say because I don't want to iterate what everyone else is saying, because it seems to be that way. But we really need your support, and I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see everybody out here. My name is Harrison Profits. I'm just going to do a quick story about being an entrepreneur to a small business owner. I started at Kansas State with my buddy. We were co-founders. We had an idea about connecting people with local pickup trucks and making life simpler for everyone. So we started a business called Bungee. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically like Uber for pickup trucks. So if you need to find a couch, get it home, or get that desk from IKEA, you can use our app to get it home. And that started here in Kansas City. But I was from Denver, he was from Atlanta, and we looked at both those cities, but we ended up choosing Kansas City because of the people, the resources, and literally the startup community and what they offered. So today, we have over 40 employees in Kansas City. We have thousands of contracted drivers across the country. We're in 11 major markets, and this is just the beginning. Next year, we're looking to double that from an employee standpoint and have thousands and thousands of more drivers across the country. So we're extremely proud of what we were able to be a part of and the resources that we're currently offered or were offered when we showed up. So I just want to challenge you guys. What are you guys saying to the future entrepreneurs, the future small business owners? So thank you for your time.
Thank you. We will, we'll go on and take, since there's 2 people standing, we'll take 2 more people speaking. That's it. Then we'll go on to other topics.
Good
Go
afternoon.
ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Long. I'm a small business entrepreneur here in Kansas City, Missouri. I work in the 3rd District and I live in the 5th District. I'm a member of the Public Safety Department. I took an oath in 1992 to protect and serve, and I strive to do that until I leave this earth. Our law enforcement agencies need our assistance as citizens. They can't do everything by themselves, which is the reason why I opened up a call center / security monitoring service. We do tracking services. We also provide counseling. We can provide you with security if you need it. We have a 5-minute. We will have a 5-minute response time if you're in need. We have created an app that is open for the general public for all families. It's a one-touch app. It will notify the police as well as my company, and you will get assistance rendered to you. But if you want to lessen the crime in Kansas City, we have to be engaged. We have to get the community, the families engaged, build a better relationship with the law enforcement agencies, city, county, local, and state governments. With this app that I created, I strive to do that. I also created a new Amber Alert, which you can also get an immediate response. If once the alert is issued, the community can immediately respond to the Amber Alert without having to call 474 TIPS. That will allow you to solve the problem that you have and possibly regain your family member that you have gotten out of touch with, which is the reason why the Amber Alert has been issued. I asked for the City Council support on broadening my business and expanding it. I plan to hire 40,000 employees before the end of this year. If you want to know more about my business, you can email me at csmd911@gmail.com, or you can call me at 816-874-5007. Thank you.
Thank you. And one last, come on up, ma'am.
My name is Rhonda Eisenhower Redwood. I am here today. I've learned a new phrase here. It used to be small business, but now it's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
What? So I'm in awe. I am not born or raised here. I was not born or raised here. More from east and west and everywhere else, but here, no. What does lure me here, and I initially liked about here, was the fact that you have history. You have a lot of Black history, museums and things of that I don't see in Arkansas, that I don't see elsewhere. But I did learn of it in Minnesota. But I say that to say business, the entrepreneurships. I am reading articles today on how much is put out there from the government. We're not talking hundreds, we're talking millions. So I stand here before you to request and to beg, of course, that you please, $1 million is nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. 2, 3, think of anywhere between 1 and 5 million for our new phrase, entrepreneurship, small businesses.
Thank you. And then now we will take, there'll be a time at the end if there's time left over for other people to speak. Is there anyone who has any, come on guys, we have other people here and other topics. Is there anyone else who wishes to come and speak on some other topic? Okay. particular, I mean, we've had people in the past on public safety or zero fare. Okay. Okay, we'll take about 5 or 6 speakers on other topics. And people who have spoken before, like you, Jim Nunley, come on, you're a good friend, but you spoke Saturday. We've heard your thoughts. I've agreed to meet with your office to talk about your concerns. Let's have people, these final minutes, dedicated to people who have not yet provided testimony to this body. So please, if you've given testimony before, either today or at some other hearing, please allow time for other people to speak.
My name is Henry Clark. I live in the 1st District. I moved to Kansas City 40 years ago, still live in the same house. At that time, they told us Choteau Traffic Way would be widened and broadened and much better road. Well, it took 35 years. I'm here to advocate for some more of the GEO bonds to go north of the river. We have over half the population or close to it. We have more than half the area, and we need better roads. It's not money that's being taken away from these other people. The bonds are already there. If we have the better roads, these people that have the businesses can get around better. It makes sense to me to put that money where it can be used, and I think the Northland needs better roads.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next person, please state your name and your topic.
Hi, my name's Mary Esselman. I live in the 4th District. I work in the 3rd and 4th District, and I'm here to talk on behalf of Children's Mercy. Sure. I'm the CEO of Operation Breakthrough. Yeah. Most of children's brain development occurs between the ages of 1 and 8, and oftentimes the toxic experiences that they have can be made tolerable by the support services that they receive. And I think education, social services, and health are those critical services that they need. Children's Mercy actually has a full clinic at Operation Breakthrough that not only serves the 700 children that we have enrolled, but also the east side of Kansas City. And they provide a lot of indigent care, which is where we're talking about in terms of the budget reduction. There have been over 60,000 children across the state that have been dropped from Medicaid rolls, and oftentimes you don't know it until they present themselves for service. At Operation Breakthrough, 10% of our children, when they've appeared for service, have suddenly been dropped from the rolls, and there's a gap during that time frame of getting them re-entered in the system. So what Children's Mercy does for the children of the community really develops strong brains and strong children for our future. So I just wanted to speak on support. Last note I will share is leaving here, I left on Tuesdays and Thursdays. De La Salle students are at Operation Breakthrough doing career exploration entrepreneurship, and I listened to 5 pitches from the freshmen and sophomores of businesses they plan to start. So young, vibrant entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Reverend Carmen Williams. I'm here speaking on behalf of Sankofa for Kansas City.
I'm sorry, for what?
Sankofa for Kansas City. It is a movement that is wanting to call into accountability our services, our government officials, and people in general to work together, to collaborate, to build a better community. One of the things that most concerns us right now is the housing and the lack thereof of affordable housing. We also are here to talk about homelessness, because if you don't have affordable housing, you have homelessness. We know that HUD has just recently awarded $35 million to Jackson and Wyandotte County. Right now, we're asking that the increase, your budget, which is only 9% for neighborhoods and housing, that is far too little to take care of the housing problem here in Kansas City. We do have a homeless situation going on. Right now, we're trying also to work with doing intentional neighborhoods to build affordable housing, to use the housing that is that's available that needs rehabbing. We're asking that the City Council rethink what we're giving to our communities in terms of housing. People need somewhere to live that they can be proud of, neighborhoods and communities that are safe. if you have affordable housing, if you have people building communities, you will have better public safety. You won't need as many police if you have a neighborhood that knows each other, that can work together. And so Sankofa for Kansas City is a movement, and we're moving right now to ask the City Council to increase the budget for housing because we need it here within the city, especially in the 3rd District.
Thank you.
I'm Reverend Esther Hosendorf with Sankofa for KC, Consolidated Social Work Services and Human Dignity Economic Justice Coalition. Several years ago, several of us met with Councilman Brandon Ellington. Well, he's councilman now. Back then, he was just a volunteer in the neighborhood. But we talked about some of the horrible things that were happening to people in the 3rd District. And so we decided to come together and build something called a model block. And we concentrated on 38th and Chestnut. That is successful. We have a resource center now that we work out of. We help people to connect to direct and referral services. We have seen a decrease in crime, and I think the police department can bear us out on that. I won't go into all of the details of what Sankofa KC does, or Consolidated, or the rest of them, but I'm here to tell you that we have some serious issues that you already know about. We're working to build intentional neighboring. We need new ideas. The same old things is not working. We need funding that was earmarked for neighborhoods to be allocated to new ideas. Our neighborhoods need ideas where the built environment supports a sense of community. Neighborhood residents need access to services in their neighborhood. We have the mission of HUD. It is to create strong, sustainable, inclusive communities and quality, affordable homes for all. HUD grantees include state and local governments, as well as nonprofit and for-profit organizations, public housing authorities, and tribal entities. We need somebody holding HUD accountable. There needs to be more oversight done by the local government officials. Ladies and gentlemen, that's you.
Okay.
You need to be able, my heart is breaking listening to people talk about these horrible
Ma'am, your
conditions.
time is up. Thank you,
Okay.
though.
And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your comments.
And we appreciate you, and we're looking forward to you doing something about it.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for hearing comments today and for being open to feedback and testimony from this community. My name is Tammy Greenberg, and I serve as the CEO of Ronald McDonald House Charities of Kansas City in the 4th District. I have with me a letter from myself and 17 members of our board of directors asking you to fully restore the $500,000, 75% reduction in funding to Children's Mercy. I know you announced on Friday that you would restore $400,000 of that amount, so we sincerely thank you for that. And we ask you to please restore the full $500,000 to help Children's Mercy do their essential and important work in this community. At Ronald McDonald House Charities of Kansas City, we see all day, every day, the extraordinary ways that Children's Mercy is making a difference in the lives of children. We provide a place for families to stay while their kids are receiving medical care. And last year, we served over 8,000 families through our 3 Ronald McDonald houses in the 4th District and our Ronald McDonald Family Room inside Children's Mercy. We also have over 17,000 local volunteers each year, many of whom come to us because they too have been touched and served by Children's Mercy. We respectfully urge you to restore full health levy funding for our city's most vulnerable members, sick and indigent children. The positive impact that Children's Mercy makes on their lives is incalculable, with a total cost to the hospital of over $3.5 million. We make this request from the perspective of the children and families served by Ronald McDonald House Charities, and we know that Children's Mercy is also serving children through Operation Breakthrough, University Academy Clinic, home visiting programs, environmental health work, and more. Kansas City needs Children's Mercy to receive full and supportive funding to preserve the health of our children. We appreciate your consideration of this request and for your leadership in protecting our city's youngest, sickest, and most vulnerable citizens. Thank you so much.
I'll need about 30 seconds of your time. I'm Ken Mosley. I'm with East Meets West of Truth, and I've spoke before, but I'm here to talk about our murder rate and our environment here in the east side of Kansas City. One of the things that the economic study says about zero fare is that what it addresses is this concept called isolationism, where the people feel like they're isolated in their neighborhoods and they can't economically get out and get the services they need. The NAACP and the environmental impact studies talk about tailpipe communities, ones like Kansas City that have a highway going through there and their environment is so toxic because everything's going through there. We need to reduce that as much as we can and give people that freer air and less vehicles on the road. So vote for zero fare.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for inviting us to speak to you and your attention. My name is Adenike Aminra. I'm with the 3rd District. I support urban agriculture. And our motto is, in order to free ourselves, we must feed ourselves. The idea that we need to be responsible and accountable for our own health and well-being. I'm an urban farmer practicing the Right to Farm Ordinance, Chapter 88.312. We ask that you support the Zero Fare Transit to open the pathway for healthy neighborhoods and to move us into a green, sustainable future. Zero Fare Transit works for walk and ride, bike and ride, and park and ride objectives. We have an international airport. Let's have an international transit system. We ask that you support our community policing over more police officers, for the management of minor disputes, for safety, for community action like recycling. We ask that you please galvanize the pothole czar, and I recommend Kenneth Mosley. We ask that you please support our initiatives for recycling, more recycling locally, food composting, repurposing of buildings like warehouses for rooftops for growing food. Instead of teaching our youth to leave the hood, Amen Communication teaches our youth to be the caretakers and become the regentry for the next generation, supporting land ownership, business ownership, and entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Okay. We're down to about less than 10 minutes, so why don't people start talking for 1 minute or less? And again, if you've already spoken, please let other people speak that haven't been heard from. Please.
Yes, ma'am. Children mercy.
Come on, so let somebody else speak.
I'll obey.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name's Erin Gabert. I'm the Senior Community Impact Director at the American Heart Association, and I'm also a member of the 6th District. Food insecurity is closely linked with negative health outcomes like heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. More than 20,000 households in Kansas City, 20,000 households in Kansas City, Missouri, lack access to a reliable vehicle and often live in areas with low access to healthy and affordable foods. For them, something as simple as a trip to the grocery store or a trip to the pharmacy to pick up their medications can be challenging and expensive. The American Heart Association, along with other organizations like KC Healthy Kids and Nurture KC, are working to address issues like these, and we are in full support of budget allocations towards zero fare transit. We see this as a tremendous step in creating equitable transportation and health for Kansas City's most vulnerable residents. We hope that this is just the beginning, though, and that we see the budget support grow over time. We hope to see the city continue to make transportation and health equity a priority for years to come. On a personal note, real quick, as a lifelong Kansas City, Missouri resident, I'm very, very proud to call Kansas City my home, but I want to make sure that we continue to prioritize people over parking lots.
Let's let people speak, other people speak. Thank you.
Andrea Clark.
1 minute.
I know. I live in the 4th District. My work is a planning and urban planning and policy associate at KC Healthy Kids, and the Greater Kansas City Food Policy Coalition encompasses all of Kansas City, Missouri, and we support zero fare transit. You all have received copies of our Better by Bus report that outlines the findings and solutions from our over 300 interviews with bus riders in Kansas City. And we support zero fare transit to improve access to healthy and affordable food, and public health by making Kansas City buses safe, efficient, and affordable for all riders. And as a footnote, I am alive today because of Children's Mercy Hospital. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel Whitfield. I'm a nurse practitioner at the Teen Clinic in Children's Mercy downtown. Here for District 4. I have a lot to say. I know I only get 1 minute, so I'm just going to go fast. So I've co-founded our human trafficking work group, and I also lead the transitions team, which transitions teens from adolescence to adulthood. So I'm very passionate about developing healthy teens who are happy and who grow up to be productive adults. Our patients have very, very complex mental and social and physical health problems, and we often get referrals from outside clinics who need us because we are able to provide all these complex services for them. We're able to link them with affordable housing. We're able to link their parents with affordable housing. Oftentimes they lose their insurance because they age out of their state coverage, or, as we stated earlier, oftentimes they lose coverage and don't even recognize that they lose it. We have services that are able to provide that. If we are fully funded, we can continue to provide those services to the teens and Children's Mercy. Sorry. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tanzania Birch, and I live in the 3rd District, and I am advocating on behalf of Children's Mercy Hospital. I have a son, his name is Terrell McDaniel, and he's 15 years old. Terrell was diagnosed with a severe rare blood disorder called aplastic anemia about 1.5 years ago, and our lives have changed drastically ever since. I went from being a very loving, caring, and super energetic mother of 5 boys, 4 alive and 1 deceased, and that still hurts daily, to a single mother full of hurt, anger, and pain. 6 months into Terrell's diagnosis, I was forced to quit my job. Terrell was having so many medical issues, literally up to 15 seizures a day, blackouts daily. He's taking up to 32 pills per day, 3 blood transfusions weekly, multiple doctor's appointments. So caring for my child is now my new 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. The only difference is I don't get paid to do it. Taking $500,000 or any money for that matter from Children's Mercy will leave every single mother, parent, family that's dealing with a sick child, especially when, all right. My son is currently on life support. He's been in there for 7 months. If it wasn't for Children's Mercy, like, for 6 months now, my rent wouldn't be paid, my bills, nothing. If it wasn't for Children's Mercy. So please and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I have to ask, we have like maybe 2 minutes left. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on a subject that has not already been covered? If they are, then advance to the front. Come up, state your subject, and don't.
Do I not get to go?
I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
I mean, we have a couple of minutes
I just want
left.
to thank that mom. I'm from Children's Mercy
Sure,
as well,
sure.
so I just
And
thank her for
again,
sharing her
why
story.
Why doesn't everybody who is in support of Children's Mercies, probably all of us in this room, raise our hands? Okay. Thank you. Yes, please state your name and your topic.
Okay, good. I don't know if it's morning or afternoon. I'm Rachel Riley with the East 23rd Street PAC neighborhood, representing the
Rachel.
3rd District. I just want to speak very briefly on the zero fare KC.
Well, we've had people speak on zero
Well,
fare, so
okay,
what we'd like
let,
is.
let me keep on going then. Excuse me, let me finish.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start my time again. Okay.
No.
Okay, just representing, talking about transportation and infrastructure. Buses no longer run in the neighborhoods that are needed. We're talking about roads and streets full of potholes, sidewalks covered with overgrowth, bridges, especially 27th Street and 23rd Street. The deterioration is heartbreaking and unsafe. Public safety, police and firemen, where's the prevention tools needed before a person becomes a victim of homicide? Where is the needed safe haven needed of jobs, job skills, housing, and affordable health care? Planning, zoning, and economic development. To do what? Remove poor people? Economic development, what for? Genocide of poor people? Where are the skill centers, job trade centers, and affordable housing in the 3rd District? These are things that we are asking the city of Kansas City to most definitely take a look at. Thank you.
Thank you. We have about 5 more minutes. We're actually running a little over, but we have about 5 more minutes. Please, if you've spoken before, don't.
If you're speaking on a subject that's been covered before, don't.
Good afternoon. My name is Gina Chiala. I'm the Executive Director and Lead Attorney with the Heartland Center for Jobs and Freedom. We're a nonprofit organization that supports the rights of low-wage workers and tenants. Of course, we're here to support KC tenants in the Bill of Rights, but we also came to stand with legal aid to support a proposal we understand is on the table for $250,000 in legal support to tenants facing eviction. That support is much needed. We are down in the courthouse on a joint program with legal aid every Thursday. We are triaging cases of people who don't have access to counsel. That support is needed. But also, we want to note that this is an extremely modest proposal, and we hope that it is a first step down a path toward full and robust right to counsel.
Thank you.
I'm Alicia Johnson with Legal Aid. I also have Corey Smith with me from Legal Aid. Because we have a short amount of time, I just want to echo what Gina Chiala just said, and thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council, for your support.
Yep. Now you
Something totally different.
It doesn't matter. You've spoken at other hearings. Let's let people
But this just came
who
up,
haven't
Catherine.
had a chance to speak. Is there anyone here who hasn't had a chance to speak at any of the 3 hearings, including this one?
Do you want a
Please come
Vision
up.
Quest immigration detention center in South Kansas City?
No, we don't.
Well,
but it's
that's
not
what I
a bu-
wanted to
It's
say.
not a budget hearing. It's not a budget topic. It is being addressed.
Brenda Kate Hoppy from the Health Commission. We're here to talk about public health is public safety. It is woefully underfunded. In the general, we receive no funds from the general fund, and we are ranked below Parks and Rec in this budget. We are so underfunded at a time when we face threats such as the coronavirus, and while we already have a public health epidemic of violence in the city. We rank in the top 10 of the most violent cities. It's unacceptable. Please allow us to do the work with the police and work collaboratively with them. They cannot and should not carry the full burden. They have their skill sets, we have our skill sets, and we're ready to work together. Please fund public health. It is critical for a safe and economically viable city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you allow me to speak as well, even though it's a similar?
Well, you can just say you support more funding for public health.
I have more to say than that.
Well, then why'd you ask? Please speak. You have a minute. If you haven't spoken before,
Okay.
please speak for a minute.
All right. My name is Kate Hoppy, 4th Council District. I also serve as a health commissioner here in the city, and I'm here because, honestly, I'm confused. If public safety is such a big issue in the city, then why is funding for health consistently down at the bottom of the budget? Public health is public safety. It's access to safe, affordable housing, it's access to jobs and livable wages, and it's living in a community free of discrimination where your life expectancy doesn't depend on the zip code in which you live. So why are health levy funds being proposed in this budget to be used to subsidize the general fund? So not only is the city not giving health general funds, it's taking money away from health to subsidize the general fund. The purpose of the health levy is to support safety net clinics, ambulatory care, and prevention. So where's that money going? Who's getting it, and for what? The Health Commission has a well thought out process in place for our safety net clinics who want that funding, and they have to track data and present on outcomes. Anyone who wants health levy funding should have to go through that same process. Thank you.
By the way, I would say I consider ambulance service part of our health network. But
Good afternoon. My name is Marty Schutpels. I'm from the 1st District. I wanted to first off say I appreciate the efforts you have made in the past to connect with the Northland Neighborhoods Group up in 1st District. I appreciate that, and I hope you continue that. Second, I have been a bus rider my life here in Kansas City, and I want you to consider more north-south routes, especially on roads north of the river, such as Shoto Traffic Way, and eventually it's going to be on Brighton, etc., when that gets done. And the PIAC requests that are being moved off to other projects, those are supposed to be for neighborhood and community projects. They're getting shoveled off. There's a sidewalk on Shoto Traffic Way that I've had to piece by piece, get them a block. And I've still got one very long block to go. And I don't know when that's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Wilson. I'm with LISC of Greater Kansas City. I just want to talk briefly about the Housing Trust Fund, that we need to put more money and resources to actually implementing the city's housing policy, which is long, and it doesn't seem that it's really prioritized as far as funding goes. So 2 ways that we can do that is provide more staffing to the Neighborhood and Housing Services Department under Jennifer Tidwell. And we also need to find Housing Trust Fund funds outside of CDBG and home dollars to put towards that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
My name is John James from the 3rd District, and I wanted to talk briefly about the budget according to the neighborhoods, where we've reduced funding for paint, the Love Thy Neighbor program, and minor home repairs and nuisance abatements. We still have rats, but we've reduced it to just a door on a name on the office. We need to put people in the field to abate those things. NTDF eligibility for neighborhoods. The NTDF uses words like we promote the neighborhood through cultural, social, ethnic, historic, and educational and recreational activities in conjunction with promoting Kansas City. But making NTDF a program a source primarily for arts cancels out yet another opportunity for our diminishing neighborhoods to build capacity. We need to promote tourist attractive communities that restore the organic foundation of our neighborhoods, but not just for ethnic products.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Rupal Gupta. I'm a pediatrician at Children's Mercy Hospital Operation Breakthrough Clinic in the 3rd District.
Well, I think we're looking for new topic. I think we understand the significance of Children's Mercy, but thank you for coming today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else that has a topic that hasn't already been discussed?
If it's possible, I have a different context of the Children's Mercy relationship. Not at all.
No, but we all have emails.
No, you
Please
don't.
send.
It's a different context. With all due respect, it's a public hearing. It's an opportunity to provide maybe a different perspective. That's all.
What?
There are 2 more hearings. 1 minute.
There are 2 more
Personally,
hearings.
we specifically. Well, I'm sorry. I did the best I can.
Yeah, I know.
I've been very patient, and I've listened, and you've been very patient. I appreciate
ahead.
that. Let me speak
Yeah,
very
go
briefly.
ahead. Yeah.
I am the director of the environmental health program at Children's Mercy. We've been in thousands of homes for the last 25 years, visiting directly in the home, helping families address issues in their homes that directly impact their health. But we have an important relationship specifically with the city. I've trained all of your Healthy Home Inspection staff. We were consultants to the city on the Healthy Home Inspection process. We have a deep relationship with the health department, have collaborated for more than 2 decades on a wide array of initiatives, including your HUD grants and all your other lead hazard control. We have a valuable relationship that goes beyond just simple pediatric care, and I think that's important, and the funding to support that is valuable as well. Thank you.
And thank you, that was very important. Thank you for sharing it.
Peter Hughes, Center City neighborhood. I live in the 3rd District. I'm here to speak very briefly about the homeless people in Kansas City, and I'm not talking about families at a bus stop. I'm talking about people that are living in the bushes all winter long. And my concern, there's a video out there called Seattle is Dying, okay? It's actually a tale of 2 cities. Seattle is dying, Providence, Rhode Island is not, because they've taken a different approach. Kansas City definitely is not dying. I'll guarantee you that. No, they are not. Not compared to Seattle, ma'am. I think...
everybody was listened to respectfully. Let the final speakers...
I'm just asking you to watch this video. Don't do it in one swoosh, because you're going to get depressed. Take several nights, maybe 15 minutes at a time. Watch that video. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like our last...
Keith Nelson, 1st District. I'm here to advocate for a sidewalk czar. And I also am proposing that we revisit the GO bond formula for sidewalks. I say if we spend $1 to repair a sidewalk, we spend $1 to build a sidewalk. I lived in a neighborhood that was annexed 70 years ago. We're still waiting for infrastructure. We need the dollars to come into our neighborhood. We just spent $1 million to get design work done for our North Kansas City elementary schools. Compare that to $5 million in the same period that's going to be done for repairs. We don't have sidewalks to repair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming today. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Yeah. Oops, excuse me.
I'm sorry.